Okay, and what are you doing here right now?
Well, today we're protesting for justice for our youth who's been murdered at the hands of the police. Getting tired of it. Our kids' lives matter. We believe our kids should have a future in San Francisco. They're from San Francisco. They should be given an opportunity and not have their lives cut short because of overzealous cops who have a trigger finger.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
So is this is a group right now? You're all here to do this together?
There's more coming. Yes, this is the group. We're also, Alex Nadeau, Mario Woods, and Amilcar, and there's a few others in the realm of who lost their lives at the hands of overzealous police. I'll be nice and I'll say police.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. So I guess how many of there are you in this group?
Oh, there could be anywhere from 100 to several hundred protesters out here today.
And it's like, what am I trying to say? Protesters, here you are.
We're here to fight for justice. We want justice. We want cops who are killing our children to be brought to justice.
Right.
Either fired from the force, like the chief, the mayor, who should be impeached because he's doing nothing to make things better for the people of San Francisco.
Yeah.
It's not just our youth, but we got the homeless issues and we got affordable housing issues in San Francisco. People are being pushed from their homes. Our youth are being murdered on the streets at the hands of cops.
Yeah.
We're having no justice for the people of San Francisco. And that's what we want. We want justice.
Here, here. What's your name?
Oscar.
How do I spell that?
OSCR. Pantoja. P as in Peter. A as in Apple. A as in tail. And Nike.
Wait. PSL? Okay. Attaboy.
Who do you work for?
I'm a student.
Oh, a student.
I'm from Colorado, and we're looking for we're here for a social doc class. I just met him over there, and he said there's going to be a bunch of us over here protesting.
The police have become in San Francisco a big mafia.
Really?
Very criminal. People very, very nasty.
We're calling them the blue KKK.
Yeah, the blue KKK. I call them the blue dogs.
What's up, my sister?
Yeah, very criminal, no scrupulous. They don't respect life, they don't respect people, they don't respect nothing.
Okay. Sure.
A real mafia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mafia.
Yeah, I know.
Mafia, like in Chicago.
No, and someone's in charge up there. Who's, why is this happening?
Why is it happening? The corruption in the city hall.
Right.
It's a big corruption.
Yeah.
Too much money. Money, you know?
Yeah. So what's this group called, this protesting group?
This is the Black and Brown United Coalition.
Yeah.
And are you from San Francisco?
Born and raised in San Francisco.
Born and raised
San Francisco Mission.
San Francisco Mission, very Mexican, very strong fighter.
Yeah. Right.
I do my best to fight for my people.
Yeah.
Where do you all meet with each other?
Different places. We have a Hunters Point area of San Francisco. We meet in the Mission District on 24th, Action Latino, and hold local meetings at our schools or whatnot.
Sure.
But we have organizations where we just meet at different times with different people.
Do you meet a lot regularly?
Almost once a week.
Yeah.
Some of the organizations meet once a week because there's multiple organizations here that are becoming united as a force to become one. Black and Brown united will never be divided.
It's the Black and Brown
Coalition.
Black and Latin America. It sounds better than brown.
But that's the way it goes, though. It's Black and Brown united, something that the people cannot separate anymore. Something that they never wanted to happen was to get two groups of people who the government wanted to kill each other off by our gangs and whatnot.
Divided.
But yeah, we changed that by the cops killing our children. We became united. They're killing black people just as long as they're killing Mexicans and Latinos. By that, if we don't join forces and make our voices heard, then nobody's going to get our message.
Right.
It's going to be, oh, it's just the Mexicans, or it's just the African Americans. No, it's all of us. We've joined forces to where we're not looking at each other to hurt each other no more, but we're here to open our mouths and be heard by the government, by people in charge, by the police.
Thank you.
They need to know that we're not going to take them killing our children anymore. We're not going to let them take our city from us. This is our city. There's less than 3% African American here, where there used to be 8%. We had over 8,000 people. 8,000 people who was pushed out of San Francisco just because of the affordable housing crisis. And it's getting ridiculous. So if we don't join forces now, we're all in for a doom. We're in for doom. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think us being united as a stronger force, we're going to start voting people out of our government and putting the right people in our government who's going to represent the people who are truly from San Francisco. And don't get me wrong, I have nothing against white people. It's just the ones that are out there that are hurting black and brown. We love everybody. All races can be there to love one another, but you're going to always have that one group in power, and it happens to be white, that's going to look down on black and brown and try to destroy us. We're here to prevent that.
And so your shirt's different than his.
My shirt is Alex Nato. He's a young man who was shot at 59 times and murdered by the police for eating a burrito in his park, in his neighborhood, before he went to work. Unjust murder. He got profiled because he's a Mexican wearing a red jacket. Automatically gang member. He wasn't a gang member. He was a hardworking young man who was trying to make his life better. Mario Woods is another young man who had some problems, but he started changing his life. He wanted to do better. He was unjustly murdered because he held a knife in his hand. The cop said he made an approach towards him. He didn't make no approach. Anybody who saw the video knows Mario did not make an approach.
59 bullets. 59 bullets.
Which is extremely excessive.
Too much. Too many bullets.
I'm like, why don't you shoot him in the foot?
But this guy with Mario Woods, they could have took a billy club and hit him in his hand and knocked the knife away. It's just ridiculous.
Patience as we were waiting to get started, but most of all, your patience has allowed more of us to come together, to assemble together, to talk about the conditions of black and brown people vis-a-vis the police department in San Francisco. I want to thank the Justice for Mario Woods Coalition and all of your great organizing. I want to thank the Amor for Alex Nieto group, your folks as well. There's been like this kind of waiting game going on. Let's just wait this out and see if people lose interest and go away. But look at us here today. We're still here. We ain't going away. In fact, we're more united than we were before. People want to think about this as a black thing. People want to think it's about a brown thing. It's a black and it's a brown thing. It's working people. It's what our communities face when we have involvement with the police department. And we see all too often that when the police don't treat us with respect, when they treat us with violence, that they have complete impunity over and over again. People were looking at other places around the country where there was impunity, and they were pretending like it didn't happen here, but we know it happens here in San Francisco. There are a lot of things in my mind today about coming together. I'll let a lot of other people speak about it, but most of all, the DOJ investigation that's happening, it's not the investigation that we call for. The DOJ investigation is not reaching into our communities. It's not seeking to build trust. It's not seeking to restore justice. It has none of those goals. I don't know what goals it has. When I hear that these meetings happen, there's like 8 people that show up at these listening sessions. 8 people showing up. There's no effort to get the community involved in this. I think they're just covering their bases, circling the wagons, trying to present the better side, or the side they want you to see of the police department, that they're going through some minimal effort to make things better, but they're not making things better. The other thing I want to talk about, and probably where I want to spend the most time talking about, I actually wrote out some points here I wanted to say. Last Friday was, or Thursday was heartbreaking when the verdict came out from the Justice Department on the civil rights case with the Alex Nieto family seeking justice for the excessive use of force. The verdict of not guilty was very, very painful. And what was really striking to me, despite that very, very painful verdict that came out, is that the best of the Mission District was still present. The best of the Mission District was still present. What united people around Alex was love, and that love still stood together, love and pride, and that surge, that thirst for justice was still alive. And that was really a beautiful thing to behold. And it really said that our fight is just, our fight is right, and that the other side is completely wrong and completely out of touch with what the reality is of our communities and how we're treated by the institutions of San Francisco, the police department, the mayor's office, and even the federal government Department of Justice. So I want to say thank you to Amor for Alex Nieto for your work. I knew Alex. I knew him from when I worked at Coleman Advocates for Children and Youth. He was often over, and it was really great to see what his involvement was in the community. And clearly, that was in 2000, 2001, 2002 that I saw him around, and his work in the community still lasted all these years. All these years. So I want to say thank you to the Alex Nieto community. And I want to say thank you to the family, and my sincerest apologies and condolences to Elvira and Refugio Nieto. I can't imagine what your pain is like right now, but you have a whole community that is with you, that stands by you, that does not want you to be alone. And the police department owes us an apology. They owe us many apologies, but the latest apology they owe us is the posting that Officer Moris made on his Facebook page after the verdict. Hours after the verdict, he's posting inflammatory remarks on Facebook as if nothing ever happened, as if he had no guilt whatsoever. There should be some disciplinary action against him, up to firing of him for what he has done. There'll be many people who speak. I will cede the podium to others. Thank you for coming together. Thank you for being in large numbers here today. Thank you for keeping this going. We are only growing in our effort to have accountability for the police department in San Francisco. And this is a demonstration that's happening not just in San Francisco, but all over the country. I want to invite up next my colleague, Supervisor Campos, who's been a great ally as well. We work very closely together to make sure that the community voice can be heard and well represented at the Board of Supervisors. Supervisor Campos.
Thank you. As you can see, John Avalos and I are not the same person. You know, we get confused for each other all the time. I guess, you know, you're not used to seeing two brown people. But I want to say that it is really a beautiful sight to behold, the people that are here. And it's not just brown and black people together. It's actually people of all colors coming together to say that so long as any black person or brown person feels targeted by law enforcement or anyone else in San Francisco, it doesn't matter what color we are individually targeted as well. Because what happens to one of us happens to all of us. It's really that simple. You know, I can tell you as a lawyer, I have a lot of mixed thoughts about that verdict, but it's heartbreaking. But we don't need a verdict to know that we have a problem in our hands. The jury that actually came together, it's a federal district court. So it's actually not even a jury of San Francisco residents. It's a jury of people from other parts of the Bay Area. And what is so striking about the evidence that came out is how so much of the evidence and so much of what led to the police being called out on the Alex Nieto matter was driven but people's assumptions about people because of race. You had a witness who talked about how, you know, what he remembered from his own experience is that if there was a Latino male wearing a red jacket, in this case a 49er jacket, that it meant that he was a gang member. And that colored, literally, that colored how he saw the incident and how he reacted to it. And so you can imagine that when we have so many of us of color, black and brown, living in a city like San Francisco, that people who live in San Francisco make assumptions about those individuals. And what we are saying is that, you know, it's human nature to make assumptions, but we want and expect better of our police department. We don't want our police department to be driven to action by the prejudices of other people.
That's right.
We want them to be objective. We want them to think about, is this really what this is about? When someone calls and sees a gang member, is that really what's happening here? Is it a gang member, or is it just a person, a brown man or a black man who happens to be strolling in the neighborhood? We want our police to think that way. And yet we know that that's not what happened with Alex Nieto. We know that's not what happened with Mario Woods. We know that's not what happened with Amilcar Perez Lopez. And what we are here to say collectively as a community is, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Chief of Police, Police Commission, Board of Supervisors, we collectively deserve better than what we have.
That is right.
And we are not going away, because I also know part of the strategy here. Part of the strategy is there are so many things happening that maybe people will just forget about this and give up. You know, they have enough to worry about: housing, homelessness, so maybe they'll forget about Mario, they will forget about Alex, they'll forget about Amilcar, and we're here to say, we are not going to forget. We are not going to forget. We are not going to forget, and we are not going away until there is justice for the communities of color here in San Francisco. Because at the end of the day, this community belongs to us. It belongs to us regardless of the color of our skin. And we, as black people, as brown people, have a right to walk in any part of San Francisco without someone assuming that we are criminals just because of what we look like. So I want to thank you for being here. I know we're going to continue to fight. We're going to continue to fight for our city. We're going to continue to fight for our communities. And I just want to say, as the supervisor for District 9, notwithstanding that verdict, we are going to continue to push for police reform, because no verdict can dissuade me of the fact that police reform is needed today. Thank you very much.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know up there beyond the sky. Oh, it's been a long, long time coming, but I know gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Then I go to my brother. I say, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Oh, there's been times when I thought I wasn't gonna last too long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. Oh, it's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Oh yes, that's why we are here, because it's a change gonna come to San Francisco. We are all gathered here for change. We stand together for change. We will not go anywhere until change has come. Power to the people! Power to the people! Power to the people! Power to the people! Shame, shame on San Francisco! Shame, shame on San Francisco Police Department! We are here, gathered here, to bring unity, to fight as one, black and brown together. Fighting for justice. Justice for Mario Woods. Justice for Amilcar Perez Lopez. Justice for Alex Nieto. 3 young men, 28, 26, and 20, who were shot at over 105 times. 40 of those bullets penetrated their bodies. We are here demanding justice. We are here demanding and saying to San Francisco, the powers that be, you will not get away with murder. You will not get away with murder. We the people. We the people. We're going to be just like Chicago. We're going to be like Ohio. If we can't beat you in the courts, we'll beat you at the voting ballot. And so we stand together, hurt, suffering, and pain. But we also feel it's time to redistribute the pain. It's also time, as my mentors say, Minister Christopher Muhammad, that everything is going on in San Francisco politics. They're putting a lipstick on a pig and telling us it's Beyonce. Well, we're not fooled, because we know what Beyonce looks like. We know what Beyonce stands for. We know what Beyonce did in honor of Mario Woods. And so we are angry. We're enraged. And we're going to fight back. We're going to fight back. I was reading an article about lynchings. And from 1880 to 1964, it was over 3,000 lynchings. 3,000. That's 84 years that it took for America to lynch over 3,000 innocent people. And today, when we look at police brutality, police killings, just in 2015 alone, it was over 1,200 police killings. What would it look like if we do not stand together, if we do not fight together? What would it look like in 84 years? So we must take a stand. We must not be afraid to fight the powers that be, to say we are not taking it anymore, that we stand together in unity. We stand to organize. We stand to mobilize. We stand to strategize for change. And we're not going to stop until change comes. Power to the people. Power to the people. My name is Felicia Jones, and I represent SEIU 1021 Justice Memorial Woods Coalition. So, Oscar, Ben, Father Richard, Minister, come and stand, because this is what we're here for. To bring the powers that be, who represent the Alex Nieto Coalition.
That's right. That's right.
Who represent the Milcar Perez Lopez Coalition, and who represent Justice Memorial Woods Coalition. The powers that be wants us to be divided.
Right.
That's right.
But we've been talking.
That's right.
We've been sharing.
That's right.
We've been loving on each other.
Right.
And so today is the day of our engagement. Because next Thursday we're going to be married.
Yeah.
And when you get married, it says to death do you part. So we're going to keep on marching. We're going to keep on fighting until justice comes.
Well said.
Amor to you all, gente. How are you all?
Alex!
I greet you all with puro amor. And puro means this is the good stuff. All right? This is the good stuff. I was there at the trial every single day. I took over 100 pages worth of notes. I am going to summarize some of the key points right now. First of all, the final jury that was chosen consisted of a majority white jury. There were no Latino or African Americans on that jury. And this is supposed to be justice. The evidence undeniably proved the following. Antonio Theodore, a black man, a witness who saw the killing of Alex Nieto, he claims that Alex was casually walking down the hill with his hands in his pockets. The officers jumped out of their car, yelled stop, and immediately began killing Alex Nieto. He sustained over 14 gunshot wounds to his head, face, lung, spine, shoulders, chest, leg, forearms, elbow, etc. Alex Nieto was wearing a baseball hat and sunglasses when he was killed. This was confirmed because there was a large hole defect found in the baseball hat that aligned with the shot in Alex Nieto's head. Also, there was brain matter that was found inside of the hat. Now, why is this important? Because the police officer rookie said when he saw Alex Nieto, he looked in Alex Nieto's angry eyes. That's what he said. And he said he saw Alex Nieto's forehead scrunch up in anger. Now, this, of course, is proven to be a lie. Because can anyone see my forehead?
No!
Can you look into my eyes right now, any one of you? That is a bold-faced lie. Another point, when the criminal investigators arrived after the killing and took pictures of the scene, the taser was photographed as being turned off. There is absolutely no way that the taser could have emitted a red laser beam, which is what all the police officers claimed that happened. And they also claimed that the wires were ejected from the taser. It is impossible for that to have taken place with the taser being turned off.
That's right. Make it plain.
Now, Alex Nieto, they're making us believe that he's holding a taser like this as they fire at him 59 times.
59 times.
He's shot in his head, inside of his face, in his lung, in his spine, on his hand, on his wrist. We are supposed to believe that Alex Nieto, he was a beautiful man, but he was not Superman.
Come on.
He could not have sustained all those wounds and continue One last point, the most convincing evidence. The police claim that Alex Nieto at all times had his hands out and was pointing a taser at them. We proved beyond a reasonable doubt that a bone from Alex Nieto's wrist was inside of Alex Nieto's left jacket pocket. That would mean Alex Nieto had his hands in his pockets, just like the witness initially claimed. We, the people, unfortunately had the jury decide for the police officers. But we, the people, did not lose.
That's right. That's right.
Education lost. Because the fairy tale books that they promote as intelligence were proven to be a farce, a hoodwink. We argued better than them. We had more convincing, compelling logic and evidence. Does the stupidity of the verdict, does that answer to the people why we refuse to value your schools, your teachers, your puppet administrators? Does that prove why we don't believe your education?
Rumble, young man, rumble.
We, the people, did not lose. Your justice system lost.
That's right.
Your sham is a tool to make believe everything is fair and just, and that we should just accept your verdict like good, nice players in a fixed game.
Come on, rumble.
Right.
We, the people, did not lose.
That's right.
Your morality lost.
That's right.
You were proven to be cowards who could not stand up for the right principle, for a real human being who was unlawfully murdered. You feared going back to your villas in Clayton and Danville and telling your friends and family that you voted for a brown person and not the white, clean-cut poster police officer. Your morality lost. We, the people, did not lose.
That's right.
Your United States of America Constitution lost.
That's right.
Your lies of equality and freedom, that lost.
Come on.
Now, if you are offended, it is not my fault. We didn't make up the rules. You did. You did. If you are challenged, then it is your chance to do right and spread the truth.
That's right.
Fight your father. Fight your uncle, your sister, your privileged community. We, the people, did not lose, for we continue with the truth. Not forward, but upward, upward. We march, we fly. Now, briefly here, and thank you for your attention, everybody, all right? Now to Officer Moris, all right? Immediately after the verdict, that's what this is. I'm gonna read to you the exact words Officer Moris wrote on Facebook. This is it, everybody, listen up. I'm not making this up. Go ahead, research on your own. He says this, smiling, and he's referring to Alex Nieto, smiling in a picture. How about burning his house down and tasing his friend who pressed charges. Now, Officer Roger Morris's post is a threat in the English language. Listen up here, everyone. I'm not making this up. I am a college English instructor. Check this out. I have a BA from Berkeley, a master's, a teaching credential, and a Juris Doctor degree from UC Hastings. Check this. I know my English. Look. You cannot read his statement in any other way except the correct English manner. That is a threat to the Nieto family and to me. Any implications that others are attaching to those words, they are pure speculation. The words must stand on their own.
That's right.
And we must trust that this police officer writer who has written hundreds of reports, he knows how to write in English.
Right.
I have heard of no other explanation from the source himself except that it is a threat.
That's right.
Therefore, fire Officer Morris! 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 All right, gente. One last thing. We have an event this coming Monday at the top of Bernal Heights mountain where Alex was killed. It will be the 2nd year anniversary of his murder. Come on up and see how the homeboys and homegirls transform that into beauty.
I'm more for Alex!
I'm more for Alex!
I'm more for Alex!
I'm more for Alex! I'm more for Alex. That's it.
Thank you.
The demand for justice has integrity. The demand for justice is selflessness. The demand for justice is the many and not the one. And so, justice for Mario Woods, we're going to bring up our fearless leader, Minister Christopher Mohammed.
This is a historic, profound press conference. This press conference has now married the struggle, the sacrifice, the sacred blood of Mario Woods, Alex Nieto, Amilcar Perez Lopez, Kenny Harding Jr., and a host of others that are unnamed but not unforgotten or not forgotten. We recognize that there are those forces in this city that thought that this movement would have died by now. There are those who thought that we would have given a few speeches a couple of months ago, expressed a little outrage, and would have been done with this and moved on to the next issue, moved on to housing, moved on to jobs, moved on to educational opportunities. But this movement committed itself on December 2nd, which is a day that will live in infamy. It was the day that these officers murdered Mario Woods in cold blood. And make no mistake about it, Mario Woods is dead. Shot by SFPD in a premeditated, cold-blooded fashion, and that is something we can never, ever forget. Shot at over 40 times at point-blank range. And the first report we got from this chief was that Mario Woods threatened the officers with threatening gestures with a kitchen knife. Only to find out that the videotape told another story. Showed these officers guns trained at Mario Woods' head from the beginning. Their hands, their arms stretched out with their weapons, guns pointed at his head, looking for any excuse to blow that man away. Mario Woods tried to talk to them, tried to appeal to them with gestures, trying to explain to them. And they refused to even talk to the young man. And after a while, they kept hitting him with bean bags and pepper spray while he was trying to engage them in dialogue. And at a certain point, he just got fed up and tried to walk away. And an officer stepped in front of him, not as a threat, but that officer was determined to shoot him in his head. What was the threat? There was no threat, which means that Chief Sir lied to the world.
That's right.
It used to be lying meant something. It used to be if you lied and you're a public official, that produced a crisis in confidence. But you have a chief now that can lie and keep his job. You have a department that can lie and keep their job. You got officers that can write Ku Klux Klan-like text messages and keep their job. You got an officer that can threaten Alex Nieto's family to burn their house down. This is not the musings of somebody on Facebook. This is a law enforcement official threatening this man's house. And keep your job. Remember now, this is not Mayor Trump. This is not some Republican administration for all us Democrats who want to blame everything on the Republicans. San Francisco's a Democratic city.
That's right.
You got a Democratic mayor. You got Democratic Board of Supervisors. You got a Democratic governor. You got a Democratic lieutenant governor. You got a Democratic attorney general. Why the hell are we looking for justice from a Democrat-led state and city when we shouldn't have anything to worry about because these people should have our best interests at heart? On top of that, Mr. and Miss Democrat, you got a Chinese mayor. You got a black president of the Board of Supervisors. You got another black supervisor. You got Latino supervisors who you heard from today. You've got Chinese and Asian supervisors. You got women supervisors. Tell me something. Why in the hell are we still crying for justice when a city that looks that diverse still got all white juries giving cops a free ride? Something wrong with this picture. You know why? Because when you get elected to public office, you gotta fit into a construct where people make apologies for the big downtown developers. When you're an officer, you may be black on the force, but you take on another mindset. So you're looking at Chinese mayors, black supervisors, black governors, white women, liberal governors and liberal politicians, but at the end of the day, when it comes to justice for black and brown, you get the same response as you got from Governor George Wallace in Alabama. Why is Chief Sir still on the job?
Why?
Good question.
Even Chicago had a good sense to fire the chief. Here's a chief, on his watch, people are murdered. Think about 59 shots. What could Alex Nieto have done that required 59 shots? What could Mario Woods have done that required 40 shots 10 feet away? So there are those who think we should be quiet. We said our piece, and we should be done. But we making our word bond. We told Mayor Lee, until you fire your chief, we're going to dog your trails. Everywhere you go, we're going to be there, and we are going to make our word bond. Our position is that these officers must be fired and charged with murder. You didn't hear us.
Say it again.
These officers had time. This was not some instant situation. Mario Woods was there. They could have talked to him. They could have de-escalated. They had time, minutes, to consider all their options. And they chose to blow him away. That's called murder. Murder. That's not involuntary manslaughter. That's called murder. With malice and forethought. Because it speaks to a culture. Alex Nieto could not have done nothing to have satisfied those officers that had murder on their mind. And San Francisco has a policy of hiring rogues from other departments.
Come on, Minister.
If you show that you're heavy-handed, if you show that you're quick-triggered, and you police in Antioch, Vacaville, South City, San Mateo, Fairfield, if you show you're willing to kill a black or brown, you can come to San Francisco and get a pay raise.
Yes.
San Francisco recruits these kind of people.
Yes, they do.
Because the developers have determined Bayview Hunters Point is to be white.
That's right.
The mission is to be white. The Tenderloin is to be white. So they send their shock troops, their Gestapo-minded police, to come in with heavy-handed tactics, looking for any old excuse to shoot first and ask questions somewhere down the line. So this coalition is determined. We ask for an independent investigation, not a doggone dog and pony show.
Right.
How dare the Justice Department, with all this murder and corruption in San Francisco, not put the full weight of the investigative power of the Department of Justice to come into San Francisco. I know you don't want to do it because it's an election year. And this is a big money Democratic city. But we aim to ratchet up the heat. As we turn the heat up on your Super Bowl, damn it, we're going to turn the heat up on your politics. We have no reason to be silent.
That's right.
Since we can't get nothing from the Democratic machinery of San Francisco, they've lost the right to expect us to be politically correct.
That's right.
To hell with political correctness.
Yes.
I know this is disturbing because this is a Democratic town. But if this is all we have to look forward to, then what the hell? It'd be better that we fight the power knowing we got an enemy who's taking his mask off. We don't need to be faked out with fake handoffs.
That's right.
Tricks and maneuvers.
That's right.
We want our supervisors to be upset.
That's right.
We don't want just them to be disturbed and pained. We want these supervisors to be angry as hell.
That's right.
And push the envelope. Fire some of these rogues.
That's right.
And if they challenge you in civil court, then pay the fine. But make them go weeks and months without a job and make the courts put them back to work. You fire them. You take the stand. That officer needs to be fired. And he needs to be charged with hate speech. See, that's hate speech. So we're calling on black, brown, red, yellow, white, liberal, conservative, whatever your ideology or philosophy is, you know what happened to Mario Woods was wrong. And you, if it happened to your son, you would want people to stand up for you, stand with you, and fight for justice for your son. Well, I'm saying to you, Mario is my son. Mario's our son. Mario's our little brother. And when you did it to him, you did it to us. Oscar Grant was our son. Kenny Harding Jr. was our son. And I want you, some of you black professionals that are in the audience, some of you black reporters, you have a conscience. Don't just report the news, report your spirit. Because you know you would not be hired to do your job were it not for the black community rising up and demanding people of color to be in these positions. How dare black police officers not have an opinion? How dare you when you face racism within SFPD? You wouldn't have a job were it not for the black community demanding that they hire black people. Heather Fong never would have been chief. In fact, she never would have gotten hired were it not for black people advocating to open up the hiring process. Fred Lau would never have been chief. He was too short. Women would never be on the force. They didn't deem you strong enough. Latinos would never have been on the force. Asians would never have been on the force. Gays and lesbians would never have been on the force. It was people in the streets of Bayview, in the streets of the Mission, in the streets of Fillmore that demanded that SFPD look like the people they're policing. So how in the hell can you be silent in the face of total abuse and you don't have nothing to say from a people that got you your job? We gotta heighten all the contradictions today. And the beauty of this movement is none of us are looking for a grant. Keep your damn money. We don't want it. You can't compromise us with an offer of a job. I got a job. And the job is to fight for justice for Mario Woods, Alex Nieto, Emil Carr, and all those who suffer. So we want to say to all of you, Alex Nieto, the decision by the court, I told some people at our meeting, that was a victory. Because maybe if they would have convicted the officer, you might have believed that justice works in America. But the reality is it doesn't work. But the shock of that decision, the pain of that ugly racist decision has brought the family together. That's right. And now we want to marry Bayview to Mission, to Fillmore, to Tenderloin. And we want to put the ring on. We want to celebrate marriage. So that what happens to one community happens to all our communities. So we want to thank you for your strength, for your commitment to come out on a Friday afternoon. But when we finish this press conference, we're going to go up to room 200. Right. We're going to go to the Board of Supervisors meeting. Yep. We're going to go to their offices and let them know we're expecting them to take a stand. Mr. and Miss Democrat, we want you to show us your love. Show us your commitment. Otherwise, it's a bunch of game playing, smoke screening, and we are tired and sick and tired of being bamboozled during election season, and then watch you stay silent and make deals and water down justice. Justice for Mario Woods. I said justice for Mario Woods. Justice for Alex Nieto. Justice for Emil Carr. Justice for Kenny Harding. Justice for the poor. Justice for the weak. Justice for the disenfranchised and locked out. Thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum. We want to bring forth powerful, strong family.
Yes.
The family of Alex Nieto.
Yes.
No one knows their pain.
Yes.
Unless you're Gwen Woods. Unless you're Danica Chapman. Unless you're Wanda Johnson. The mothers of those who have been murdered by law enforcement. We don't know their pain. And we don't just want to sympathize. Sympathy's not enough.
That's right.
We want to empathize.
Yes.
We want to feel the pain of this father and mother. And you know how you feel it? You get busy and go to work like you've never worked before to fight for justice on their behalf, and then you're letting them know you feel their pain. Come on, family. This family deserves more from San Francisco. The sacred blood of Alex Nieto from this blessed womb and this blessed father. It's more than just talk. We gotta be willing to do what it takes to get this family justice, because tomorrow it could be me, it could be you, it could be you. So the fight you take now is a fight for yourself. Let's give this mother and father a round of applause. Adding insult to injury. See, that's because you've been doing this so long that you now have a rogue culture where you can do evil with impunity, knowing that whatever you do of evil, the POA will back you. It doesn't matter. In fact, if you do wrong, you'll get more backing. But we have to say enough has been enough, and it's not going to happen on our watch. Is that our pledge? Then we got to be willing to pledge it with our life. We don't know what the future holds, but San Francisco as a city is in trouble. I feel sorry for this city because there is a God, and you can mock the poor and the disenfranchised, but there's a God that's not mocked. So you keep trying the God of justice, and he will show you his power. But meanwhile, Mr. Lee and supervisors and others, we want to show you ours.
My name is Oscar Salinas. I am from the Alex Nieto Coalition, and I know that Elvira, she wants to thank a few folks, and she wants to say a couple of words for you. Give it up for Elvira Nieto and the Nietos, for the strongest people in San Francisco right now. Give it up.
Nada más quiero decir una cosa.
Just one thing I want to say.
Nosotros hemos ganado porque toda esta gente está con nosotros.
We won because all these people are here with us.
Y debemos estar juntos para que estas personas no nos maten a nuestros hijos.
And we need to be together so this never happens to our children.
Quiero dar gracias a todos, a los que han andado con nosotros, todos, y la lucha sigue.
I want to thank everybody in the community who's been with us from day one, and that we go forward in solidarity. Thank you very much, and I also wanted to say is, Viva la Ambición, Viva the Bayview. This is what it's all about. It's about community. It's about black and brown coming together. They thought they were going to break us, and they did not. Guess what? They made us stronger. They have woken up a giant in San Francisco. We will not stand for this.
That's right.
The fight has just begun. We are putting the fire on Ed Lee, on Chief Sir. Mario Woods is here today. Alex Nieto's here today. Almigad Perez is here today. If you are a native of San Francisco, We want you here because your voice is important. It's very important for you to be here because we do it for the love of the people who made this city. Right. People that look like me, people who look like you. This is what it's about. These are two human beings that did not ask to be in this fight, but they were forced to be in this fight. And I tell you every day, I get up every morning because I look at these two beautiful people, how strong they've been, their dignity through this whole situation. They were in court every single day looking at the faces of those officers, and the officers could not even look at them because they knew they did something wrong. And guess what? They hide behind the code of blue silence. And guess what? We are here to break that down. And for any officer that's out there, you need to come out. We are here for you.
Yes.
We are here to protect you.
That's right.
Your voice is important in this struggle. Come on now. There's going to be so many actions this year. Come on now. You have no idea. Like I said, we are ready to roll. Black and brown unity is here to stay. We are going forward. We will have people inside City Hall. We will have people running this city. We can do this. Grassroots forever. Amor for Alex Nieto. Amor for Alex Nieto. Amor for the Bayview. Amor for the Mission. Amor for Mario Woods. Amor for Anmika Perez. Amor for O'Shane Evans. Power to the people. Thank you very much.
Powerful. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Nieto, for standing, being upstanders instead of bystanders. And now we're going to bring a strong but gentle man to the podium, and that is Father Richard of the Amilcar Perez Lopez Coalition. Come on, Father Richard.
All right. So just over a year ago, I was spent a week in Ferguson, Missouri. And while I was there, many beautiful young African-American men and women told me their stories of what had happened to them at the hands of local law enforcement, and as they talked, they had tears running down their cheeks. And I talked to their moms, listened to them tell their story, how helpless they felt at seeing what was happening to their kids at the hands of law enforcement, and they had tears running down their cheeks as they talked. Just a little over a week ago, I sat in the courtroom listening to the testimony in the Alex Nieto civil trial.
All right.
The moment came. The moment came when the medical examiner came forward to give her testimony. She's the one who had examined Alex's body when it was taken to the morgue. As part of her testimony, she had to project onto a big screen photos of Alex's body. Bullet-riddled body from head to toe. Bullets through his head, through his face, all the way down to his feet. Alex's mom and dad couldn't bear to see these photos. And so we went together out into the hall. And we were together there for 2 hours while the medical examiner completed her report. And I looked into the faces of Elvira and Refugio. They had tears running down their cheeks. And I looked into the faces of some of Alex's friends who were there with us. They had tears running down their cheeks. And you know what? Those tears looked awfully similar to the very same tears I saw a year and a half before in Ferguson. It doesn't matter whether the faces were brown or black. The tears are the same. The pain is the same. The loss of children who will never come back. The pain is the same. Was there ever a time for black and brown unity in the face of this racism and this corrupt police department? Was there ever a time than now? As a priest in the mission, let me just tell you, since Amilcar was killed just over a year ago, 20 years old, running for his life, unarmed, when they opened fire, shot him in the back 6 times. This young man who looks a lot, I must say, like my own son. When I've talked to young Latinos in the community, it's broken my heart over and over again. Because you know why? None of them were surprised that this even happened. And I talked to some Latino moms. None of them were even surprised that it happened. This is just part of the fabric of life in the mission. All this pain, all this fear, it's been going on for decades. Can we put a stop to this? Well,
yeah, we can put a stop to it. Working on it. Yeah. Working on it. Come on, Father. Talk to me. Bust it up.
We got to start by telling the truth. We got to start by telling the truth. We got to let our young people know, when you come forward and you talk about what happened to you at the hands of local law enforcement, we got your back. We're going to stand with you and support you. And when those few but brave police officers come forward and speak from within the department about what they've seen and they've known, perhaps what they themselves have experienced of the racism and abuse, we got to let them know we got your back. And we got to let the police chief know that he's got to start telling the truth. He's got to start telling the truth. In the case of Amilcar, the chief has come out with 3 completely different stories about how they killed Amilcar. None of them add up. In the case of Mario Woods, the chief really wants us to believe that we can't trust what our own eyes are telling us when we look at that horrific video. And in the case of Alex Nieto, it took the chief 9 months even to release the names of the officers who had killed him. And he only did it when he was forced to by a judge. Not acceptable. Not acceptable. And despite the fact that a largely white suburban jury has exonerated these officers, it's clearer now than ever before that Alex Wood was murdered on Bernal Heights. Clearer now than ever before. We need the chief, we need the department to come clean, stop the lies, start telling the truth. Without the truth, there will be no reconciliation. No truth, no reconciliation. No truth, no reconciliation. No truth, no reconciliation. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. Give yourself a round of applause and let's keep pumped as we get ready to go up here and deal with this weak mayor and these weak supervisors that's on our watch. I'm here to say Justice for Mario Woods Coalition have made it clear to the Department of Justice that package you sent called COPS, we gonna return it to you, return the sender, because we didn't ask for that. What you sent us without a tracking number, by the way. You delivered that to us. You put garbage in our city, and we went to your listening sessions, and you didn't listen to us. We want an independent investigation, and we want you to have some heart and will and listen to the people of San Francisco. It's time out for being politically correct. It's time for us to speak truth to power. Yes, sir. So some of these weak supervisors who happen to be black supervisors, get off your lazy behind and stand with the people. Who put you in office? Why are you in office? Don't you claim the ghetto when you not really standing up for the ghetto. Don't you claim Hunters Point when you walking around here pussyfooting around with people. What nerve? As we sit here crying for justice for families, and you have the nerve to be a black politician in San Francisco and you don't come out and speak truth. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And don't act like we can't recall you. We have a history of moving on these weak supervisors. We have a history to bring the truth to some of these politicians, as what Brother Minister Christopher said, these Democrats. So this Department of Justice, we're going to return to sender. That's right. Cops didn't come here to do anything but just to smoke, put up a smoke screen, whitewash,
and pussyfoot around.
On taxpayer dollars.
3 town hall meetings, and if it wasn't for the Coalition for Mario Woods, nobody was there. So if Obama ran on transparency from his office, then Miss Loretta Lynch, our Attorney General, owe us an apology and an explanation in writing why the Department of Justice is not here for this COPS program. Too little, too late. You had the opportunity to come here 20 years ago. We've been dealing with this police department for years. I got stumped by the police in the Tenderloin in 1984. I don't speak of a lot of my personal history with the police department, but this pain goes deep. Like the father just was speaking up before you. We all have received the problem with this police department, the brutality over the years. We all have experienced that. My son was shot 10 blocks away from here. And while he was bleeding to death, a narcotics officer told me, leave him alone, wait for the paramedics. And if it wasn't for me to have FOI training, come on. You didn't hear me. FOI, Fruit of Islam training. If it wasn't for me taking first aid classes, if it wasn't for me taking courses dealing with earthquake preparedness, my son would have bleed out and died. So this is serious, y'all. We want people to come to these rallies and press conferences, but get involved. This Department of Justice have let us down. And I agree with Brother Francisco have said so clearly, this is a department of jokers. And they ought to be ashamed of themselves. Because even when they investigated Cleveland, the people and even the community didn't make the call like we're making the call. You think these people are listening to us because they like us? They're listening to us because they see the black, the brown, the white, the poor coming together to challenge this city. So let's get ready to go up here. I ain't gonna tell everybody done said what needs to be said. Thank you. And let's get to justice. Justice for Mario Woods.
Justice. Beloved brothers, sisters, and snitches, because I know some of y'all are here. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time repeating what's already been said. The story's been told, the facts is on the line. We talked about the pain. We've talked about the loss. Let's now acknowledge the gain. And what have we won? What has the sacrificial lambs, bloods that have bled out on these streets, the mothers' pains and hearts that are hurting because their sons are 6 feet underground with dirt in their face and there's still blood on the street and no justice. What have we won? What is the benefit of these great sacrifices? What am I so glad about? I'm glad about this engagement party. I'm excited and exceedingly joyful that we've had the good sense and the wisdom to come together, black, brown, white, oppressed, the rejects, and the sub-citizens coming together in a marriage of oneness, all for one and one for all, and bringing down this power base of what we call Republicrats. We're not looking to the government for our freedom and our liberation. We're looking to a God that sits high and works low and has brought us together in one accord and of one mind, and that's justice for the masses of the people that are suffering on a tyrant government. I'm glad. This is the way I look when I'm glad. You understand? I take the gloves off. When I'm glad, I put my war clothes on. When I'm glad, I'm ready to hit the streets and hit these buildings where they're hiding. Can you imagine? Listen to this, beloved. I'm glad because the mayor has been confined to room 200, and I'm saying that room is too small to hide him. He can't hide with the bootlickers and the slave-chasing Negroes that he surrounded himself with because we've torn the clothes off him. They're all naked. It's nowhere for him to stick his head and hide. I'm glad. because we are committed and we're going to stick together. And I'm glad that I saw a few preachers out here. Come on. See, I just keep wearing this collar because for me it means that I'm a slave to the people and the God that I serve. I'm not a slave to the Roman Catholic Church. I'm not a slave to the powers that give us the non-profit status. I'm a slave for liberation of the poor and oppressed folks. And I've seen some preachers here because we've been absent. I said I saw some preachers. Are they still here? No. They still absent. I'm saying to the religious community, you got to do more than serve wine and bread on Sundays or first Sundays. You got to start serving justice. You got to preach, if you're a Christian, you got to preach about an uncompromising revolutionary called Jesus Christ, who is the first cousin with John the Baptist, who spoke truth to power. If he'd have kept his mouth shut, he'd still have his head. They didn't kill Jesus for turning water to wine. They didn't kill Jesus for healing the sick and raising the dead. They killed Jesus for speaking truth to power. Now we're going in here. We're not biting our tongue. We're not apologizing. And we're very plain. We want this chief fired. We don't care about him going to Washington, D.C., kissing the feet of a clay statue of Abraham Lincoln. He needs to be fired. These murderers need to be charged with murder. All compassion to the people, with love to all.